When you're writing for adolescent characters, you have to very quickly immerse yourself with the adolescents right now because their language and everything will change in 6 months' time. Then you have to go with what they're saying because they're the experts of that age.
Shannon Murphy, welcome to Variety Critics Corner. Your film Babyteeth is playing the Carlo Vivari Film Festival. Tell us how this movie sort of landed in your hands. It was a play at one point, but I think it was sort of your idea to adapt it, right?
Actually, Jan Chapman, our EP, and Alex White, they saw the original production at Belvoir Street Theatre in Sydney, which Rita Carnier, our writer, had written, and they immediately were running up to each other in the foyer and just said, this is our next feature film. We have to get Rita to do the adaptation. And so that's how it happened. And I was actually one of the last people to come on board in many ways. When I got it, the script was perfect, in my opinion, and really ready to go. So I was very lucky.
You really take it a different direction in this film. How do you sort of pitch the movie when asked about it?
The one line I always love is that it's a film about how good it is not to be dead yet, because I think that really sums up the tone of the humor.
Oh, God.
I lost my hair.
It looks cool. It's like way better than the one that I gave you.
Not.
However, I do think, for me, a lot of what I loved about it was the fact that there was this theme of addiction running through and how people behave in crisis and are coping with such a difficult situation, but at the same time, in a very Australian sense, using a lot of humour to survive that. And I think Rita captured that incredibly well. Made it feel more realistic to me than sometimes a lot of films that deal with teenagers. And I think often we underestimate how intelligent and emotionally connected that age group is. I love that their ideas of the world are quite black and white and they've got such a hard stance on things, because I think that's actually a shame how we lose that the older we get. They're really good at sticking to what they believe in and seeing things quite differently, and I wanted to really grab that, but also to make everyone, whether you were that age or not when you watched it, to feel like you could be transported back to that time and feel really vibrant in that experience.
You've kind of reinvented the gaze. What is traditionally thought of as the male gaze, and here we're seeing through a young woman's eyes, and the way that she sees this candidate for her first love, maybe her only love.
Yeah, we definitely talked a lot about Miller's gaze and what that felt and looked like. And the beautiful thing about working with my cinematographer, Andy Comis, is he's so kinetically sort of attached to the actors and the movement and the music. And so the camera really, through him, naturally finds those sweet spots. I mean, we plan everything beforehand, but then we're also very loose on the day to really capture the energy of what's going on. With Miller, it was definitely taking in every droplet of Moses. She's enamored with him at times. For me, the gaze, it always is quite instinctual because it comes from you and what you're concentrating on with the character.
How old are you, Moses?
I'm 20.
16.
20.
We talked a lot about different lenses and different ways that we were going to shoot each person. The scene where they're all at the dinner table for the first time, we were exploring that idea. What allows the audience to really dive in and connect with whichever character they currently are most associating with, and allows you to not only feel like, yes, of course there is a protagonist, but rather than only connecting with her, you might grab other people in that story depending on where you are in your own life.
This is not a version of the story that is pegged specifically to 13-year-old audiences, I don't think. It's a more grown-up, more complicated one, and the parents are a really important part of that.
Yeah, I definitely didn't want to be making a teen film. I mean, my goal was that teenagers would watch it and feel so well represented in many ways. The key, though, is when you're a teenager, you're not watching teen films, you're watching adult films. Like, that's the whole point of being a teenager. So that's the thing. I do feel like in many ways it's the perfect teenage film because it isn't catered to you, it's catered to people older, and that's what you're aiming for.